All right, this is going to be a little bit different video from what I usually do. We're going to be talking about tractor ballast and why it's important. And there are three options for ballasting your tractor. You can put liquid ballast in the tires. You can use wheel weights or suitcase weights. And you could use a ballast box or heavy equipment on the 3-point, like a brush cutter or tiller. And the benefits of ballast are it increases your traction and efficiency by preventing wheel slippage. It enhances stability by lowering the tractor's center of gravity, makes the tractor more stable and less prone to tipping, especially when you're using a front end loader or operating on hills. With improved traction, you maximize power, reduce fuel consumption, and reduce tire wear from wheel slip. And I've got a list of tools here that I'll put in the description, so you'll be able to see which tools I'm talking about, and I'll leave links to where you can buy them. The first tool we're going to use is a 4-way valve core tool. Whenever you're putting liquid ballast, you'll have to take out the valve core in order to put the liquid ballast in. And you'll need an air and water adapter kit. And what that is an adapter kit that will hook up to a male end of a garden hose. And there's another end that fits on the valve stem of the tractor tire. And what you'll do is I've used water in the past, but where I'm at now, water would freeze in the wintertime. But down south, you could use water, and you just hook it up to a water hose. The thing about this is, as you're putting water in, you'll have to stop and release the pressure and bleed the air out. And I'll show you that when we get to it. You'll need a jack and a jack stand. And for the wheel weights, I use a long rod. I've got a piece of rebar. I'll show you how I use that. And I want to give special thanks to Chuck Meador at Taylor Foundry. If you need wheel weights, this man knows his stuff. I sent several emails to him, and he was very informative, and he knows the product. With my tractor, I couldn't find wheel weights. I've looked for years for them, and New Holland no longer carries them. So I sent Messick a message to see if they could get them, and they told me they were in back stock. Well, this was like a month ago. I finally got them Monday, and I tried to cancel the order after I found the weights from Taylor Foundry. Though the weights from Taylor Foundry were about $200 cheaper than the ones I got from the dealer. But anyway, I'm gonna show you about putting liquid ballast in your tires and putting wheel weights on your rims. Like I said, this will give you better stability, better traction. So let me get to it, and I'll show you what we're doing. Okay, I'm doing this by myself. So what I've done is I've taken that rebar and I've run it through the hole on the wheel weight, and I put a jack stand here. That way I can slide the wheel weight up against the wheel. It uses carriage bolts to attach. I've got one carriage bolt in already, so I'm gonna slide this up on and get that one bolt started, then I can get another one on. Okay, there's the wheel weight mounted. It takes 4 carriage bolts to hold it on. And like I said, these are 105-pound weights. And what I did was I took a piece of rebar, I stuck it in the top hole here. I set the wheel weight, or I ran the rebar through that top hole, and then I picked up the rebar with the weight on it, put one end of the rebar in the square hole on the rim, and then I set the other end of the rebar on this jack stand. And then what I did was just push the weight up against the rim and then installed the bolts. They're heavy, but they're not terrible. I mean, if you're putting on some heavier weights, you may want to have a forklift or some kind of a jack or hoist system to pick that up. But for 105 pounds, I handled that pretty easy. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and start on the other side, and then I'll get back to you when we start on the ballast, the liquid ballast.
Okay.
All right, you got it going?
Yeah.
All right, first thing I'm going to do is run this rebar through the hole, pick it up, set it in the hole on the rim, and then set it on the jack stand and just slide it up against the rim. And then I'll take the bolts that I've already got in the rim and get them lined up. It went easier the first time. All right, once you get the bolt in, and take a washer and a nut and put on the bolt. Okay, then once you get the first bolt in, put the other two, tighten it up a little bit, put in your top bolt after you remove the rebar, and then just tighten them all up. After you run the tractor for a while, you'll probably want to go back and check your bolts, make sure they haven't loosened up. All right, that's it.
Okay.
All right, whenever you're ready.
I am ready.
Okay. And just snug those up a little bit. All right. Just take the rebar out. I'll put the other bolt in and tighten it. Now you can turn it off. Okay, now that we've got the wheel weights mounted, we're going to put in some liquid ballast in the tires. These tires are 11.2 by 24. They take 24 gallons. And what I'm using is it's a RV antifreeze. A gallon of water is about 8 pounds. This stuff here is a little more, about 9 pounds. So I'll be adding 226 pounds to each tire. And then with the wheel weights, that's another 210 pounds. And with my tiller on the back, that's another 630, which comes up to 1,292 pounds. As a rule of thumb, when you're using a front end loader, this front end loader has a 2,300 pound lift capacity. As a rule of thumb, you want to use half that weight for ballast. So if you're running 2,300 pound loader, you're going to have 1,000 and I think it's 1,150 pounds as a counterweight. So whenever you're using a loader, you want to make sure, as a rule of thumb, you want to make sure your counterweight is half your lift capacity. All right, so first thing we're going to do is you want to make sure your tire's off the ground, and you want to rotate the valve stem to 12 o'clock. Then we're going to take the valve core out and release the air. Okay, this is your air and water mixture kit. This right here will hook onto a male end of a garden hose, and then the other end fits onto your valve stem. There's a little bleeder valve right here. As you're filling fluid, you'll have to stop periodically and bleed off the air. It takes a while to do. Now, you can get a little fluid transfer pump, and whatever you're using for ballast, you could dump it in a bucket and pump it that way. I've taken a garden hose with a funnel and just poured the RV antifreeze in that way. I can't find my hose, so I'm going to try something a little different. I've got a old jug of slime with a pump on it, and it'll fit. This end will fit on the valve stem, so I'm just going to pump it in like that. Like I said, it takes time. You have to stop periodically to bleed the air off, but it's pretty simple to do. One other thing I should mention is a lot of people use beet juice. Sometimes it's called rim guard. That stuff is about $6 a gallon. It gets pretty expensive. Now the RV antifreeze, I bought it at Tractor Supply for about $3. So to fill up both of these tires, it cost me $200, $100 for each tire. It took 24 gallons, which was four cases. So it would have been 8 cases total. And it was I think when I bought the first 4 cases, it was 100 and something, and the second 4 cases was another 100. So you're looking at $200 to do this. Now, if you have somebody come out and do it, like I said, the rim guard, the cheapest I saw was $6 a gallon. So you're going to be paying $6 a gallon for whatever size tire you have. Plus, you're probably going to have to pay labor for somebody to fill them. Like I said, there's several different ways you can do this. You can buy a little transfer pump, pour your liquid in a bucket, and just pump it in like that. That's probably the easiest way to do it. I've done it with a garden hose and a funnel. Like I said, I thought I'd try something different with this slime bottle. That seems to be working pretty good. It's slower than doing it with a pump, but like I said, you have to stop periodically and bleed that valve to let the air pressure out. Okay, once you've got your liquid ballast in the tire, you want to put your valve core back in, and you want to put air back into the tire to whatever the manufacturer requires. These tires take 26 pounds, so that's it. I've got the weights on. I've got the liquid ballast in the tires, so that should make the tractor a lot more stable. Be a little bit safer. Also, it'll improve traction. So it's little better to have weight on here. Like I said, if you've got a front end loader, you definitely want to have ballast. And just like I said, the rule of thumb is you want half of the counterweight for whatever the lift of the front loader is. Like I said, if you're 1,400 pounds, you want to have 700 pounds of counterweight. So hope that helps. Thank you.